chief guest here at our event, sir. So now you can go for your opening remarks. Thank you, sir. Now the floor is yours.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Welcome you all, distinguished guest, and all the participants, all my students and ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, and warm welcome to inaugural event of the AWS Cloud Club at TU. This is the very good initiative by the Upendra. And the AWS Cloud Club, as many of you might already know, is the part of the vast global network bridging the gap between cloud enthusiastic innovators and industry leaders across the world. So it served a platform to learn, grow, and stay connected with the even advancing field of the cloud technology. Right here, we proudly present the AWS Cloud Club TU under the leadership of Cloud Club Captain Upendra Prasad Nyopani, the very first AWS Cloud Club established in our country. Not only TU, this is the all over the country. एकदम ठुलो कामहरु गर्नुभएको छ क्लाउडको लागि क्लाउड प्लेटफर्म फर दैट. The AWS Cloud Club TU is not just the student organization, it's dedicated platform for building such enthusiastic to explore the world of the cloud computing with the primary emphasis on amazing web service, AWS. In today's digital age, cloud computing skills are the high demand across the various industry. By being part of the AWS Cloud Club at TU, that means positioning yourself for the future field with exciting career perspective. Yes, so who are studying the information technology field, this is very important for them for the practice of the cloud computing. Just theoretical is not sufficient. That's why if they work in this field, they will more practitioner in this field, and students are very happy to work in the cloud computing field. And the club core mission is to facilitate learning and provide hands-on experience in cloud computing, AWS service, and we can related technologies. So I extend my congratulations to AWS Cloud Club at TU for taking this bold step in promoting cloud education and fostering the community of the future cloud leaders. I encourage all of you, all the participate, all the members to actively engage with the club, size the learning opportunity it offers, and use this platform to launch yourself into the dynamic world cloud computing. Congratulations on this exciting beginning, and I look forward to witnessing your journey of growth and innovation in the world of cloud computing. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's make the Cloud Club at you resounding success. अब म चाहिँ सक्सेसको लागि शुभकामना पनि दिन चाहन्छु. All of you, thank you very much for this opportunity. र यसमा नेपालीमा म भनौला अब यो उपेन्द्र जी लगायत सम्पूर्णलाई यो क्लाउड क्लबलाई चाहिँ सक्सेसफुली यु हैव टु इम्प्लिमेन्ट इट. Successfully you can work in this field and you can include more and more students in this field. है त त्यो गरौँ ल. यति भन्दै म आफ्नो वेलकम स्पिच यही टुङ्ग्याउन चाहन्छु. But thank you very much for inviting me as a chief guest, AWS Cloud Club at TU. Thank you very much. है त. Okay, done.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. Your words are truly inspiration for us. Definitely, this is going to motivate us and work to enhance and build AWS Cloud Club Tribhuvan University more strong, creating more diverse space so that all the tech enthusiasts, not just a student, even enthusiasts, can join us and create a amazing platform for development of cloud computing technology here in Nepal.
Okay, thank you. So we have Stephen also. Yes.
Thank you very much. Joining us from Ireland.
So you can encourage our student in this club. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
So now may I leave? Okay, I have another program also. Thank you, boss. Go ahead. Okay, you can
go. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. So without further delay, now I would like to continue our session with Upendra. Upendra, now you can start with your time.
So sorry, everyone, for the technical glitch. Welcome you all for the inaugural event of AWS Cloud Club here in Tribhuvan University. Respected Chief Guest, Dr. Professor Subarna Sakya sir, Director at IT Innovation Center and the Professor in Department of Electronics and Computer Engineering, IOE Pulso Campus to you. And our distinguished speakers for the event, Mr. Stephen Howell, all the way from Ireland, academic developer advocate at AWS, Mr. Desdeepak Dhobi, Senior DevOps Engineer, AWS Community Builder, AWS User Group, Middleton Region Leader, and AWS Academy Educator, and representative from our community partner, media partner, outreach partner, and all the present students, tech enthusiasts, cloud enthusiasts, and professional. I, Upendra Prasad Nupane, AWS Cloud Club Captain, warmly welcome you to the inaugural event of first ever AWS Cloud Club of Nepal, AWS Cloud Club at Tribhuvan University. I hope you are all are doing well and enjoying the festival season here in Nepal. And Stephen, I hope you are having a fantastic morning. Before jumping into what AWS Cloud Club to you is, let me light on what is AWS Cloud Club is. It's a global network of AWS Cloud Club. Around 33 clubs are there in the world in 20 countries, and over 10,000 members are there in the AWS Cloud Club around the world. And it's a student-led group for post-secondary and independent learners, and it's open for all the learners aged 18 plus and under the Cloud Captain guidelines. And the good news is recently AWS Cloud Club was awarded Best Educational Initiative by Devil Awards. Now let's light on AWS Cloud Club Tribhuvan University, what we do and what we are planning to do in the coming future. And this is me, Upendra Prasad Nupane, first ever AWS Cloud Club captain in Nepal. And I founded and initiated this community. And the AWS Cloud Club, you have different goals. And first and foremost, we will teach AWS skills to all the students and the member of the club. And we promote cloud benefits. And we provide different hands-on experience to the different practical projects. And industrial relevant skill will be provided through different sessions just like this. And the activities we will do are seminars to enhance the technical proficiency with the AWS topic, and we'll organize project and org hackathon applying knowledge in the real world scenario. And obviously we'll invite guests like Stephen and this Deepak Dai to get insight from industrial expert, and we'll provide the certification support and guidance for the AWS certification. And obviously we'll do AWS cloud advocacy, promote cloud benefit in the tech communities. Let's jump into what are the benefits to become a part of AWS Cloud Club to you. AWS is highly in demand, so to stand in a job market, you can join our groups to get insight and knowledge and technical expertise needed. And we'll provide the practical learning to enhance the academic curriculum. And a networking session will be there to connect with the peers and the professional around the world, not just in Nepal. And you will get help in certification preparation, guidance and resources for the AWS certification will be provided to the members of AWS Cloud Club to you. And obviously you will get the industrial exposure by meeting the mentors and peers. And last but not the least, you will get amazing swags from AWS too. Yeah, we have open application form through there. We get around 90 membership application, and if you are interested and haven't filled the form till yet, you can apply for the memberships. It doesn't matter you are from Tribhuvan University or other university, you can still apply to become the part of the AWS Cloud Club to you. And last, I would like to thank to all the community partners, media partners, and engineering outreach partner for collaborating with us and making the program successful. These are the board member we have till now. Due to the university's process, we have to finalize the board member to register in the Tribhuvan University. So we have registered for registration. We have 5 members. Before jumping into the end, let me share my some journey till now. Since becoming AWS Cloud Club captain, I was determined to make this inaugural event truly exceptional through collective and dedicated effort from my team. I'm proud to say that we have achieved something grand. We have successfully partnered with 28 tech communities as a community partner, 5 media partner, and 1 engineering outreach partner. With this, in just 2 weeks of preparation, we have reached to around 20,000 through our different social site, and almost 200 people have joined in our meetup group, and above 100 students have filled the form showing interest to become the member of AWS Cloud Club to you. And I want to express my gratitude to all the participant partners who join forces with us, helping us to reach broader audience. And thank you and welcome to each and every one of you. Rather than organizing the inaugural event in the isolation, we decided why not to invite industrial experts to enhance the technique, learning and enjoyment of the event. We are honored to have a speaker for the event, Mr. Stephen Owell, academic developer, advocate at AWS, and Mr. Deep Dhobi, senior DevOps engineer and community builder. We extend our heartfelt thank you to Stephen and Mr. Deepak for accepting the invitation. And thank you for your time and joining with us. And I would like to request you, all of you, after this event, please fill this form through this QR code so we can get how the event will and how you feel about the event, what the knowledge you gain. Yeah, that's for from my side. Thank you, each and every one of you, for joining and welcome you all. Let's learn something today. Back to you, Hikmat. Hikmat, you are muted.
Thank you, Upendra, for amazing for providing insight about how what the initiation of AWS Cloud Club, Tirubhuvan University is, and how you have been leading as a Cloud Club ambassador. Uh, I hope that all the participants got the idea what this initiative is trying to work for the students. Without the further delay, now I would like to invite our speaker, Mr. Des Deepak Tovi. He is senior DevOps engineer at Genesis Solutions. Along with that, he has been contributing to build community for AWS as a AWS community builder. Also, he is AWS user group Midwest region leader. Along with that, he has been contributing as an educator for AWS as AWS Academy educator. Uh, Mr. This, now the floor is yours. Now you can have your time.
Yeah, thanks, Hikmat. Am I audible? Can anyone just?
Yes, you are clear, audible.
Awesome. Yeah, hello, Stephen. Thanks for your time and just being with us. Hello, everyone. So, as Hikmat a bit introduced about myself, so let me share my screen and proceed ahead. So, I think it's saying that you are not allowed to share your screen. I think I need the permission.
Upendra, can you work with that?
Shubham, I think you are the permission.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. And few of the members in the chat are asking if we could have just recorded this session, right? This should have been like much
Yeah,
easier,
we
but
have recorded the session. It will be uploaded in different social sites and
awesome,
YouTube too.
awesome. Okay, let me share my screen. My screen is visible, right?
Yes, it's feasible. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so a bit of introduction about myself. My name is Deepak Dhobi, and currently I am associated as a senior DevOps engineer and also as a level 2 support engineer at one of the APN network company in Nepal, that is Genesis Solution Private Limited. And I have been as a community builder, AWS community builder for the last 2 years. I have like certified in two AWS certifications. Few of them are on my list, right? And I have been just looking into building my career into cybersecurity and other stuffs. And I love like educating people and sharing my insights with others. So I build like contents. I have a small YouTube channel. I have like Medium blogs, right? I write blogs on that. And when I get a bit of time, I do some sort of freelancing works also. So this is a bit of about myself. So as today's session's main topic is about unveiling the IT career in the cloud computing, right, with AWS. So, as all of us here may be aware about cloud computing, because in the last few years it has been like a boiling topic in Nepal and in other parts of the world. So, yeah, that's very awesome thing, and AWS brings that to everyone, from a small part of the country to the largest part of the country, right? So a small organization that is just willing to get some startup, they can use AWS to leverage their benefits. And even the largest companies like NASA, or there is even Amazon, right? Those other companies can also leverage. So AWS has all sort of cloud computing services inside that, as this particular slide shows that in here. So AWS is the world's most comprehensive and broadly adapted cloud platform. We will just see the proof of this in few of the coming slides, which offers like 200 plus fully featured services that may be the service related to compute or serverless or machine learning, right? AWS has a lot of services that the customers or the organizations can use based on their requirement. So as previously mentioned, it has services and operation services related to compute power, database storage, content delivery, and everything. So another question that may arise is, why use cloud computing and why only AWS, right? Because it do have like multiple advantages in comparison with the IT infrastructure that was in like a traditional method previously being used. Now that has been replaced with the, or is being replacing with the cloud computing. It the Because the cloud computing provides agility, elasticity, right? It doesn't require that much of just wiring and tiring with the hardware things. You just need to spin up a server within a 5 minutes. You just click in few buttons or run a specific command, and your server gets up within a minute, and you can just start working on that and deploying and just serving with your customers. And yeah, I think this is the one slide that I moved ahead. So as I previously mentioned, right, there are like small startup companies being using AWS, even in Nepal also, and all over the country, or all over the world. And there are major big companies that are also using AWS. You can see like few logos of them, right? GoDaddy, Adobe, NASA, Capital One Bank, Disney, Tweets, Airbnb, even Netflix. All of these companies use AWS to serve their customer, right? So these are the few of the organizations that are using AWS in a larger scale. Now the question may arise, yeah, these companies are using the AWS services. Now these companies need certified professionals, certified engineers who are more aware about AWS, how AWS services operate, how AWS services can be used in best practices based on security, or if it's related to cost optimization, if it's related to performance efficiency, right? We need AWS engineers who are capable of building agile, cost effective, and other specific factors of deployments, right? So we need those members. So now and these companies of course will gain or get those AWS engineers, or the engineers, IT engineers, who have the capability or who have the knowledge of AWS, right? How AWS operates, how they can use AWS in a more effective way. And for that, one of the best part, or one of the best solution, is to get AWS certification, or you get AWS certified, as it provides you the capability to show your cloud expertise, right? So that companies can just know that how capable you are, or why they should hire you in their company, so that they will be more beneficial and will be deploying their application in a more secure and agile environment. So AWS do have multiple AWS certifications, and those certifications are based on level. If you have foundational knowledge, you can go with the foundational level of certification. You have like professional level of knowledge, then you can go with professional level of certification. There is a specialty level of certifications also that AWS provides, and that are of different sectors or different fields. If someone is associated or interested in database, someone is interested in machine learning. So AWS do provide all those of certification options for you, and you can choose one and you can proceed ahead with excelling your career in AWS. So AWS does provide AWS certifications, and if we see few of surveys, like 97% of people say that it put their company in a better competitive position, 91% say that it drives innovation, and 90% say that report that they have increased their productivity, right? We have looked at that into. So if we look into the available AWS certifications, as I previously mentioned, we do have foundational, associate, professional, and specialty level of certification. So if we see in here, the foundational level one is called as AWS Cloud Practitioner, and associate level has Solution Architect, Developer Associate, SysOps Administrator, Data Engineer, which is in beta, right? And professional, you can go with Solution Architect Professional, DevOps Professional, and for this specialty, you can go with Advanced Networking, Data Analytics, Database, Machine Learning, Security, and even with SAP on AWS. So in these two slides, you can see like there are multiple uh, differences, right? One certification says that it's related to solution architect, one says it's related to developer, one says it's related to data engineer. So what your interest is in, or what you are interested in, or what career or what growth path that you want to choose, you can proceed ahead with the AWS certification. You can choose your ones accordingly and proceed ahead accordingly and excel. And one another question can be, why get AWS certifications, right? So AWS has programs as per the need from the beginner to expert. I previously also mentioned it has certification levels from beginner to expert level. Cloud computing has a lot of career options. Like if you see in Nepal also, there are multiple companies that are just asking for the employees that have knowledge in the cloud computing, who know how to operate cloud computing, how to use cloud computing in a much effective manner. So, and AWS is the leading cloud service provider. If we see the Gartner survey of 2020 or 2021 or 2022, AWS is in the top list of the AWS cloud computing. In the cloud computing list. And AWS has the most number of companies utilizing the platform, including NASA. And AWS also expands your professional knowledge. So if I specifically talk about AWS certification, for example, let's say someone is interested in networking. There is a concept of AWS virtual private cloud in AWS. So if someone gets the overview on how AWS VPC works, how subnetting works inside that, how NAT gateways, how internet gateways work inside it, they can use that knowledge in different fields, in any field, right? They can use in like hardware fields also. So because that knowledge can be just used in multiple fields and multiple factors. So learning AWS or AWS certification, getting certified in AWS certification will just help you in some sort of or any sort of fields. Yeah, previously I was talking about the Gartner Magic Quadrant for Cloud Infrastructure and Platform Service survey. So based on the 2022 year of survey, AWS was on the top. And if we see the 2021 and 2020 survey, is still there also AWS or Amazon Web Services is on the top as a leader of cloud computing. And yes, one another question can be that you get AWS certified. So you got AWS certified, someone, for example, got a solution architect certification. Now, what other extra benefits that he can get? He can get digital badges, right? He can get exam discounts. So if anybody gives his or hers first AWS certification, they get around 25 to 50% of exam discounts on their second exam if they take that in like 1 year. They get event recognition, you get free practice exam test, you get access to AWS certified store where you can purchase like merchandise, right, from the AWS, official AWS, and you become a part of a global community. Now, another privilege or another recognition that AWS provides is been listed in this slide, right? If we see like five main privileges, one is AWS Community Builder, another one is AWS Heroes, AWS Ambassador, AWS User Groups, and AWS Cloud Club. So these are the recognitions that a particular person, a particular group of persons can get from AWS. They do have like particular criterias of getting these all recognitions, but there are multiple chances that uh, the interested ones can get all of these, right, with these certifications. So there are like multiple benefits of getting AWS certified or becoming a global community member of the AWS. So if we talk about the status of these all global networking opportunities in Nepal, so let's look into that a bit. So if we look into the AWS community builder, we do have like 11 to 12 community builders in Nepal. You can see the list of members in here, right? And these members keep on increasing, right? Like for example, if someone gets interested in this year, every 6 months AWS opens the AWS community builder forms. They can fill up that form, and the capable ones get selected from the AWS, and they can proceed ahead with getting multiple swags, multiple informations, or multiple passes to the sessions that they can use and share those information to their community of students and community of groups. And AWS Hero, there is like no one in Nepal. In India, like there were around 10 to 15 peoples who are recognized as AWS Hero, but Nepal doesn't have anyone till now, right? But anyone from this group or anyone outside of this group can become AWS Hero. Just we determined. So, but there are potential multiple potential members. You can be also the one. You can connect with AWS Heroes. There are multiple links that you can use to connect on the with the AWS Heroes, AWS community builders on the LinkedIn, right? And you can get like you can ping them like, I need help on this, I need guidance on becoming AWS Hero, and they are just like always ready to help. That's what makes the community stronger. And talking about the AWS ambassador, this year only, right? Previously, before this year, there were like no AWS ambassadors from Nepal. This year only, 2023, we got a new ambassador, AWS ambassador from Nepal, Sushant Paudel, who works as a pre-sales solution architect. And yeah, he became the first AWS ambassador from Nepal. And in the coming years, we expect that a few more will be added to these lists. And talking about the user groups, currently we have a central user group called Nepal, AWS user group Nepal, which is associated at Kathmandu region, the capital city, and we have the sister groups of it, which has been started for the Midwestern region. That I'm the part of it. I'm leading that, right? And we are doing like multiple sessions, multiple online session, multiple physical session, training students, getting them involved into labs and everything so that they can excel in their career and they can use AWS to move ahead and grow. And yes, AWS Cloud Club. Before like a month ago, there were no AWS Cloud Club in Nepal, and we got one back then. So AWS Cloud Club Tribhuvan University is here, and this event is also being hosted by these guys. So why be part of the AWS global community? You get access to resources, right? So uh, if anyone, if there is anybody who wants to start their career in AWS, so they need resources, right? They need AWS account, they need like learning objectives, learning materials that they can use to just practice things, practice for their certifications. So that all are provided by the global community, by the AWS user groups, members, or the team members, or the AWS Academy educators. Like I'm also part of it. So if anybody wants, I can just provide them the required resources. Like here, you can use these resources and prepare for this certification. You get networking opportunities. There are like multiple events being organized by AWS user group, AWS cloud clubs, right? You can be part of that, and you can just network with each other, with other people, so that you can grow together with each other. You get learning and training opportunities. You get stay informed, right, with the updates that happen in the AWS or in the other IT fields. You get technical supports. If anybody gets into any sort of trouble, any sort of problem in doing labs, or in some sort of problems in doing like a real-time work, a real-time task, they can just communicate or talk with the other members who have like expertise in that particular field, and just proceed ahead with solving the issues. You get into the community engagement so that you help each other to grow ahead. Now, talking about the career opportunities with AWS. So with AWS, you just dream it, right? And AWS will help you to reach to that point, reach to the top of the world, what you have dreamed. So if we talk about the career opportunities, you can become cloud architect, cloud developer, cloud administrator, DevOps engineer. You can become like solution architect, cloud security specialist, right? As previously I mentioned that there are multiple AWS certifications that involve or engage you in getting these particular careers. If someone is interested in security, they can proceed ahead with AWS certified security specialty exam and proceed ahead with a career in cloud security specialty or specialist, right? You can become a data engineer, cloud migration specialist, AWS machine learning engineer, cloud sales and business development. So there may be questions like, there is a student who don't have like a bit of technical knowledge. So does he or she have the chance to just grow in AWS community? Yes, they do have, right? There are multiple fields that not that much of required technical field, like the cloud sales or business development, right? Which enhances other members that are non-technical and grow in the AWS community. You can become AWS trainer, right? If I have the expertise, that knowledge, that wisdom, then you can be a AWS trainer or instructor and share information with other students and members. You can become AWS consultant. You can become AWS cloud analyst, right? Because this all are the, we can say, like a minimal amount of cloud opportunities that AWS provides. You can be a much more than that. As I previously also mentioned, if you learn a particular bit of cloud with AWS, that is going to help you in many ways in different fields. If someone is like a developer, right, he has the expertise in developing things, then he can go with the career of cloud developer. If someone has interest in administrating things, right, system administrator, they can go with cloud administrator, and AWS has the certification to support that also. So you guys can do anything with AWS. Okay, so now the question can be, AWS does have multiple certifications, right? And in the starting phase, there comes a state of confusion, right? How should I start ahead? How should I take my first step, right? Yeah, I went through that also, because that comes in everybody's phase. So getting confused is a good thing, because getting confused helps you to choose the best path for you, choose the best way to proceed ahead. So first, if you want to get started, you can be part of AWS user group and cloud clubs. So AWS, currently in Nepal, there are 2 AWS user groups. There is a Facebook page, right? After this session, I'll send you guys the summary, and I can just list the links of the useful ones, so that you can use and be part of that. And so you can be part of the Facebook group, and the Facebook group or the user groups do have like updates, like having multiple online sessions or physical session. You can be part of there, and you can proceed ahead accordingly. And we do have like user group region YouTube channels on which we share particular information related to cloud, related to networking, related to IT informations, right? Everything. And and regarding another part, AWS itself provides you free training and learning contents. So AWS do take cares of it. So AWS has like multiple platforms, multiple sites that anyone can use and start their cloud journey. For example, AWS has AWS Academy, AWS Skill Builder, AWS Educate program, right? Using that, AWS provides you free learning access, free learning courses that you can enroll inside that, and you can proceed ahead accordingly. So I'll share you guys with these particular links after this call on the summary email. So there is nothing to worry about that. And another thing is, make yourself engaged in the community. Be consistent, right? Be a sort of person who is like more engaged and is willing to give back to the community. You have learned anything, you just come ahead in the community and just talk with the AWS user group peoples, like, I have this information and I want to share it with my community or students, and please help me out with that. And surely the team will come up and help you guys with on that. And when you are in need of any help, don't hesitate to contact others to get help, because the community is large. Not even in Nepal, right, you can connect or just ask questions to any members in the world in the AWS community, right? If we go in the LinkedIn, or if you go in the Google also, if you search like members, AWS community builders, AWS heroes, you just list up the peoples, you get the list of the people, you go to their LinkedIn account and get their SS and message them, and you obviously will get to the help, or you can get help from the user group members also. So if you do have any questions, if you are like confused, just don't hesitate to ask questions to others or other members, right? Everybody is just chilled out to help each other. And the last one is just Google, right? If you go in the Google or in the YouTube, if you search like a particular topic, if you search like how should I pass my AWS cloud practitioner exam, you get a lot of results, you got a lot of resources that you can consume and proceed ahead accordingly. So yeah, because I have included this because in my career journey this has played a lot of role, right? The YouTube and Google, because the first thing that comes up is the amount of research that you do on things that you want to grow, on things what you want to learn. So this can be much more helpful because you get a lot of stuffs on Google. AWS itself provides you the resources that are free that you can consume. YouTube also have like AWS channels, other AWS community builders, AWS heroes do have their YouTube channels. They just post multiple videos and links that you can use and proceed ahead. And another most important thing is you never stop working hard. Be consistent, be just able to dream things and just run behind that and make it possible. So yeah, so using AWS, you guys can like move ahead in any field, as I previously mentioned. And AWS community, AWS Cloud Club, all is here to help you all. And we are all here to help you well to proceed ahead in your career. So thanks everyone.
Uh, so thank you, Mr. Deepak, for this amazing and words of wisdom that provide like detailed and proper insights of AWS services, finding the career paths, learning opportunities. I think you sum up entire your presentation with all the information that all the participants are looking for. Uh, so thank you so much for your time and getting time from your busy schedule. Before moving to our final speakers, we have designed a short quiz for all the participants. I will be sharing some questions, and the one who is going to answer this question in chat box, the fastest and correct, the most correct one are getting uh, s- selected for as a winner. So the very first question is, who is considered as a father of cloud computing? This is the okay. Who is considered as father of cloud computing? So now we have 60 seconds for that.
Since everybody is using the Google.
Okay, the fastest one. Let's see who is the fastest in Google. Okay, okay. We have got the okay. So Lajan Shrestha. So you have been selected. Upendra, note this name down. So congratulations.
Sure.
Congratulations, you have been winner for our first question of quiz. Uh, okay, so let's move to next second question. Which AWS service allows you to create, publish, and manage APIs for your applications? Okay, again the same. Again, it's again Lajan for second question. Also, open the note it down. Wonderful. Let's go for third question.
Lajan, please reach out to us after this session. We will be awarded with some swags from AWS.
Okay, the final, the last one. It's very much simple. Let's see who is the quickest one. What does AWS stand for? Okay, okay. Let's. I think we have some new faces now. Okay, Asbin. We have Asbin now. Upendra, note this name. Okay. Okay. So thank you everyone for your participation and engagement in our for this quiz sessions. Now, without further delay, we have speaker from far away Ireland joining us with you guys. So he is Mr. Stephen Howell. He is currently leading AWS as academic developer advocate at AWS. Stephen, now the floor is yours, and we are really excited to hear from you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, hearing me is one thing. Being able to understand me might be a different one because I'm betting most people have not heard an accent like mine before. So sorry about that. If I'm hard to understand, I am speaking English. I'm doing my best, but I don't speak any Nepalese or any other cool languages from your region. So I'm afraid English is all you're going to get. I'm Stephen Howell, and please call me Stephen. And Upendra has been calling me sir all the time. So I keep telling me, just call me Stephen, don't call me sir. And I'm based in Ireland. And I didn't think any of you would have heard of Ireland, but someone in the chat said they had heard of Ireland. So we're a really small country where I think if you compare the sizes of Ireland and Nepal, we are you're 2.1 times the size of Ireland. You've about 25 million people, we've 5 million people. So we're really small, but we have done something with our economy, which was very rural based. We were just farmers, agriculture. We didn't have an industrial revolution because we had a big scary neighbor who had the industrial revolution and we were just farmers. So we didn't get to have what a lot of countries had, where they had factories and they had, pharmaceuticals and they had all sorts of amazing things. Until in the 1980s, when we went through a really bad recession and lots of people were unemployed. And I was only a little kid back then. You can see I'm very old. I have a big white beard, but well, actually, I trimmed the beard, so I have a short white beard now. But I'm still very old. And I remember when there was no jobs in Ireland and everyone emigrated because that's all the choice was. Everyone had to emigrate. Now, we do have a cricket team, but someone says he's heard of Ireland because of cricket, but nearly everyone on our cricket team is someone who moved from India to Ireland, and they brought cricket with them because we'd never heard of cricket before that. But that's why we've such a good cricket team at the moment. But anyway, that's besides the point. I've never gotten to play cricket, so I can't really comment. But what I will tell you is we were a very poor country, and something happened that transformed us into one of the richest countries in the world, the richest country in Europe, and a technological country where nearly all the jobs are in technology. And nearly every American company, big tech multinationals, have an office or a headquarters in Ireland. And all the data centers are now in Ireland. In fact, AWS has data centers in Ireland that are completely powered by sustainable energy, which I'm very proud of. So we have a phenomenal transformation. And a lot of that is down to, well, we were lucky in one way because we spoke English. I know you're saying it doesn't really sound like English, but it's our version of English. So we spoke English, so the Americans could work with us. And we're in the EU, the European Union, which Americans want to be part of to sell to. Big tech companies want to sell to rich countries. And our closest neighbor left the EU, which is unfortunate, but it means that we're the last country in Europe that speak English. So the Americans are, interested in working with that last country as a way to engage with other European countries. The other thing that happened is that our education system went through a transformation. So if you go back, if you go to some countries, and if you go back 100 years, nearly everyone who went to university or higher education was wealthy and was studying because they could afford to. And I don't know about Nepal, but I bet you that there is a hope that everyone can access education, and it's not always possible. So 25 million people. So, there will be a challenge to get to education, but that challenge should be on your ability and your brains and your ability to learn and work, not on how much money your family has. So hopefully, some of you were like me. You were not from a rich family where you could go and study, say, poetry. Okay. Now, I have nothing against poetry, but if I said to my parents, I'm going to go to university and study poetry for 4 years, they would say, there's not a lot of jobs in being a poet. Could you not maybe consider some other course that would get you a job? So, an awful lot of the courses in Irish universities have become very technologically focused. And about 10 years, they began to include this strange thing called cloud computing. Now, fast forward to today, and there are many, many courses on cloud computing, and nearly every graduate of, say, computer science and software engineering in Ireland has to do some cloud computing. Now, when I went to university, and yes, I am very old, there was universities when I was a child. When I went to university, cloud computing didn't exist. So everything we learned and how I learned to code was locally on my device, like literally on the computer that was in front of me. Now, we hadn't invented laptops, but you can see the two computers I learned to code on behind me. I'll move out of the way so you can see them. And these are a Commodore VIC-20 and an Atari 600 XL. Now, these computers didn't come with a monitor. You plugged them into your television. And in order to learn to code, there was no internet. We hadn't invented it yet. Instead, you went to a shop, a bookshop, or a newsagent's, and you bought a magazine that had computer code in it, and you would learn to code by typing that in. Now, I know none of you believe me because you're all so young. You've always had the internet. But I remember before the internet, we learned from reading books. Now, I know some of you have never heard of a book, but books was how we used to send information. We printed out and we put them in these big buildings called libraries. Nowadays, we just watch YouTube. But back then, that was how we learned. Now, when I learned to code, everything I built was on my computer. So when I would be building software, and let's say when I was a teenager, I had learned to code. I wasn't very good, but I'd learned, and I offered to write software for local companies. Now, these were small little companies, not big companies. But those small little companies took a chance on me. But in order to write software, they would literally buy a computer, like a Dell, Optiplex or Inspiron, like one of these big, big things. And, they were all like sort of the monitors were like this size, like, I mean, not the little skinny monitors you have nowadays. These were not laptops. These were big computers. And they'd buy it. They'd lend it to me. I would write the software on it and then give it back to them. Now, you might say, that sounds crazy. Why didn't you put it on a disk? Well, we might put it on a disk, but then we would need a computer to write the software, and we mightn't have a computer that was powerful enough. So if the company needed a server, they would have to buy the server and it would sit in their building on the premises. I would write the software on it, and all the computers that could connect to it connected over a physical wire directly into the back of it because we hadn't invented wireless yet. So imagine a scenario where you're writing software and the only way you can write is in the building of where your customer, your user is going to be. That wouldn't be much fun now if you got a job and they're in a different country. You just couldn't do it unless you went to that country. So I'm, again, over the years, I graduated from university and I got a job as a computer scientist, a software engineer in a big tech company called IBM. And by this point, we now had networks and we were inventing wireless and we were writing lots of software. But we were still operating in a model where if I wrote software, the end result was a CD-ROM. We had invented them by this point, which we would send to the customer and they would install the software on their local computer. Nowadays, we want to deliver software. We say, I'll make a web app and my customers will connect to a website and they'll use my software that way and I'll charge them for accessing it. And that would only be possible if we move to a new model, which involves hosting our software somewhere and offering it as a service. Now, you might say, well, I still want my customer to be able to download and install my software. That's fine. You can do that too. But how you distribute software, how you make it available to them, has moved from a world where I'll send you a CD-ROM and I'll write the software on your computer to I'll write it on my laptop and I'll publish it to the cloud and you will access it through the cloud. Now, this should apply to students too. And some of your lecturers, and I know some of your some people listening are academics, and that's brilliant. You should get in touch with me afterwards as well, so I can help you. But imagine, I was 26 when I left software engineering, writing software for IBM, to become a full-time computer science lecturer. I was a part-time one when I was 22 at night. I teach at night. But when I was 26, I got the opportunity to become a full-time computer science lecturer. So I took that opportunity and I taught for 11 years. But when I was teaching, we were still teaching in a traditional way. So if I wanted a student to have a database, they would install the database software on their computer. Now, think about that. Okay, because you might have done that. Okay, actually, if you've ever installed a database engine on your own computer because you had a project to do where you talk to a database, can you give me a thumbs up if you've ever installed a database on your own computer because you had a project to do? Okay, I see a couple. Oh, very good. Okay. Now, if you've never installed it, that's okay. Give me a thumbs down. You've never had to install a database engine on your own computer. Has anyone never done that? It's okay if you never have. We're not going to throw you out. I just want to know. No one has given me a thumbs down. Oh, we've one thumbs down. Okay. So imagine that I, as a lecturer, was getting every student to do that. And it was commonplace. It made sense. And then what happened? Well, students would go out for a job interview, and the interviewer would say something like, if my company needs a database and I hire you to do it, how would you do a database? And they would say, I'd install it on my computer. And they'd say, but how would I access it? And they would go, I'll install it on your computer. And that makes sense. That's how we used to do things. It's not how we do things anymore. Nowadays, companies say, well, if I install a database on your computer or my computer or any computer, I'm responsible for picking the right database. And some of them are free, some of them are open source, some of them come with maintenance contracts, some of them are very expensive to buy. It depends on the database. And I have to figure out what's the right database, or you have to figure it out. Then I have to make sure it's installed properly and set up properly, and that every security patch that comes out, which could be every day or never, when we don't know, is properly installed immediately. I have to make sure that all the security is followed, and I have to make sure that it's always available. So if there's a power cut in my building and all my customers lose access to their data, that's bad news. Now, in the olden days, that's just what we had to do. Nowadays, no one wants to set up their own database. They want to push that away. That's a boring job that they don't want to do. And they want to give that job to someone who's literally, this is my job and this is all I do, and I'm an expert at it. And those are the cloud companies. So in AWS, we have loads of different types of databases. You pick the flavor you like, but it's like going to an ice cream shop. The only thing I have to do is pick the flavor. I don't want to know how they made the ice cream. I don't want to know how they scoop it out. I don't want to know any of that stuff. I just want the ice cream. I just want to pick the flavor. So you can literally go to AWS and say, I need a relational database, or I need a NoSQL database, or I need a particular variant of a relational database called this. And AWS will either offer you one of their own databases, or you can even get one from a third party. Like you could say, I want this vendor's database, but I want it running in your cloud. And we'll take on to do things like updating it and hosting it and making it available as a service. So the only thing you have to do is connect to it and put your data in and get your data out. Now, you still have to use strong passwords. You still have to write your code properly, of course. But we're taking most of the work off you and leaving just the programmer bit with you. Now, that change in mindset is quite hard for academics and students when they first come across it, because you're saying, well, wait a minute. I kind of like to know that I can install a database on my computer. And that's fine. You can still install a database on your computer. But nowadays in a job interview, when someone says, what's the quickest way to get a globally distributed database that meets, the Atom standard, the quickest answer is spin one up with a cloud provider. And, it's important to note that they cost. So you have to work out how much data you're going to have and how much cost it's going to be. But it's usually a lot cheaper than hiring someone to do it and buying the computer to run it on and keeping it in your building. So that change in mindset in companies who are all embracing the cloud at a huge speed means that we need the same change in mindset as developers and as students. So someday, you're going to be in an interview, and if you're lucky in your university or your college or wherever you're studying, they'll have taught you about cloud computing. But if you're unlucky and you don't have a module on cloud computing, then being in the AWS Cloud Club and learning from people like me who are telling you, sadly, our very old life experience will give you a hint as to the new way things happen. Now, you heard from Deepak Dobi. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm so sorry, Desh, if I am. And I mean, he said everything that I usually say in these talks. So I'm just telling you a story now instead of repeating all his slides, because his slides are very comprehensive. But think about this. If you had the knowledge that Desh has and the experience he has, and you follow the advice he just gave you, you're going to be so far ahead of most candidates for a cloud computing job, simply because you followed his advice in those slides, because it was phenomenal. It covered everything you could possibly need to do. For some people, that will mean getting a certification. For some people, that will mean they don't get a certification. They just learn practically how to do it, and they create maybe a GitHub portfolio of their cloud projects. For some people, the networking is more important. Now, in the olden days, it was who you knew to get a job. Nowadays, it's what you know, in tech anyway. I'm sure there's still some places where it's who you know, but my dad is a farmer, and when he wasn't farming, he was an engineer in our local factory that made fireplaces, electric heaters, ovens, things like that. Now, my dad is great. He's retired now. He is 79 this month, so he's a big age. But do you know what? He couldn't get me a job just by ringing up his rich friend and saying, "Can you give my eldest son a job?" Now, I know that does happen. And if you have a rich parent who has lots of friends who's going to get you a job, that's great. But most of us don't have that. I certainly didn't. So every job I've gotten wasn't through, the interviewer knows my rich dad or my rich auntie or whatever it is. I didn't have any of that. Instead, I had to impress them with what I knew. And sometimes what I knew was that I had gone to the meetups, I had met the right people, I had asked them what it's like to do your job, and I had realized I wouldn't like that job or I would love that job. So networking is not about who's going to give you a hint about what job to apply for. It's about who's going to share their experience so you could say, that's the goal I want to go for. So start building your network now, because if you're not on LinkedIn and you're a student, I would say you absolutely, assuming it's still free, it is free, I think, you absolutely should sign up to LinkedIn. Now, I know another social media, I hate social media. It's all people posting silly things, I'm not saying join it for the social media aspect. I'm saying join it for the networking aspect. Now, I've already put my LinkedIn there. I'm hoping, let's just check. Has anyone sent me a LinkedIn request already? Okay, if you have, excellent. I want some more people to send me them, please. Now, when you get, there were 74 people on this call today, and I'm one of them, so I want 73 LinkedIn requests. But anyway, let's say the following, okay? Well, actually 72, I'm already connected to Upendra. So let's think about the following. At some point in your life, you might have an opportunity to apply to a company that I've worked at. And if you check your LinkedIn network that you've built and you see, oh, that weird guy from Ireland who presented to the AWS Cloud Club, he had a very strange accent, he used to work at that company. I wonder, will I ask him what it's like? When I get those messages all the time, and I tell people, if you like this, it's good. If you like that, it's not good. It depends on the type of things you like. Every company's different. But if you haven't made that connection, then how are you going to know who to ask? So make those connections, and be an active participant in the community, because small countries which have like ours, who have new tech economies growing like ours, need to stick together. We need to identify where are the jobs going to be. Now, if I had to guess, I've gone through so many revolutions in tech. There was the object-oriented programming revolution, and there was the WYSIWYG and Windows revolution. When I started coding, everything was text, and then Windows came in, and now we're back to text. It's weird. But there was the mobile computing revolution. Now there's the cloud and AI revolution. And that's going to last a while, I think. A lot of people think, oh, it'll die down. Well, cloud hasn't died down. It's just become the underlying layer of everything. And AI, I think, is going to be crazy too. So like today, I'm testing out a new workshop on AI I've written for students. I'm making sure it all works. Maybe I'll get an invite to present it to you guys someday. And, I love writing content and testing it out and making sure it works for students. But when I look at this is stuff that is going to be revolutionizing many different jobs. And I want to teach you how to do that so that you're not, blindsided when you go for an interview and they say, well, on our team, we use all these AI tools. Can you use them? And you go, no. And they're like, well, it's going to be very hard to get a job if you don't know what they are. So now is the time when you're a student to build your network, to learn these up and coming things. Go to a meetup, join a cloud club, and listen when someone says, we used to do it this way, but now we're doing it this way and it's much better, because that gives you a hint of the future. So I'll give you a few quick hints, okay, because I have a little bit more time. First of all, there is a never ending, cacophony of noise on social media about this is the latest, greatest thing. You have to learn this. You have to do this. And a lot of it is marketing. It can be very hard to filter it out. And I say to you that rather than worry about products, like, oh, do I have to learn 10 different products? No, don't worry about products. Focus on skills. Focus on the underlying skill. So, for instance, a lot of people talk about 10 different JavaScript frameworks for building web apps, and this one's better than that one. Okay, there's lots of different ways of building a web app. Learn to build one way, simple way. Start with JavaScript and work your way up. And when you get comfortable with that, the rest will be so easy to learn. The mistake many people make is trying to learn the latest, greatest thing because someone on Twitter says they have to. That's really hard to keep up with everything. Develop the skills so you understand what's happening. Same thing with cloud. A lot of people, oh, there's so many different services. How do I learn them all? Well, there's only so many fundamental concepts in cloud, and you can learn them. And once you have learned that skill, it's easy to apply to different products. Okay? Now, another question I get a lot of times is, oh, which programming language should I learn? Don't worry about it. Learn whichever one the lecturer tells you to learn. If the lecturer tells you to learn COBOL, well, maybe not. But if the lecturer is probably telling you to learn Java, Python, and C# or some combination. Okay, learn those ones. It doesn't matter. What matters is learning the skill of coding and understanding what you're doing rather than copying code and wondering how it works. That's not how you learn. Build projects in whatever programming language you like, because once you understand one deeply, when you go to build that project, same project in a different language, then you'll suddenly learn much faster because you've actually learned one language well. Okay. Now, oh, C and C++, that's what I learned when I started in university. I'd already learned some C at home, and I learned C++ in university. If you learn C++ well, nearly every other language becomes easy. However, learning C++ is extremely challenging because it's not a friendly language. Okay? But if you're a good C++ programmer, I'm not sure what analogies you guys like. Give me a thumbs up if you like Star Wars. You've seen Star Wars. Okay, some people have seen Star Wars. Right, give me a thumbs down if you know Marvel and the Avengers instead of Star Wars. Okay, I have more thumbs up. I have a few thumbs down. I'm going with Star Wars. Okay, so now if you're a C++ expert, okay, you're like Darth Vader fighting Jawas. Okay, it's just, there's no hope, right? You are amazing. Unfortunately, C++ makes it easy for your lightsaber to go off when you're looking down the dangerous end, and that's not good news for you, okay? So C++ is very powerful, but also can make it easy to do very dangerous things and break you and your computer. Python, however, is a very popular learning language. There's nothing wrong with it, but it can be slow in enterprise, and you have to do things to speed it up. And if you get a chance to learn Go or Node.js, I see some people are really popular languages. Go is a great cloud language. It's supported by Google. There's also Java, supported by Oracle, C#, supported by Microsoft. There's Rust, which is up and coming. There's loads of languages. And in fact, if you set out to learn them all, you'll never get any work done. You're too busy learning programming languages. Instead, learn how to code in one and then work your way up. Now, if you're more of a Marvel person, being able to code is and write software and write it well is a skill which changes the way you think. So don't worry too much about which one you're learning. Just learn one really well. And I always say to students, the language you should focus on right now is the one that the lecturer is telling you to do and the one that they're grading you in. I know that sounds funny, but I taught Java for 11 years. I don't love Java, but Java is a language that will get you a job. So consider, if the lecturer says to learn Java, learn Java. It doesn't matter if it's not the cool latest language. It might be the one that gets you the job, and it's definitely the one that's getting you the grade. Now, with that said, sorry if I didn't check the time. Have I gone over time or am I okay? Let me just check. Am I okay? Are we
got
okay?
a few minutes.
A few minutes. So I wanted to say, I've told you why I think you should learn cloud computing. I didn't want to repeat all the stuff Desh said, but I want to say that everything Desh said was absolutely right. And you should do that. But I want to give you the opportunity to ask me questions. So as you've heard, I'm very old. I've been a software engineer. I've been a computer science lecturer, and I've been a developer advocate for Microsoft. So you can ask me questions about technology and cloud and AI, or about careers. I'm happy to answer them. However, I want to test something. So if you guys think of the questions you're going to ask me, you can type them in there. And I want to test something that I haven't done before. So I'm going to share a Mentimeter going to present, and then I'm going to click share my screen. And it says, what window are you going to share? And there we go. So there's a question, what are you studying? What did you study? And I'm sharing it now so you can see the answers. So some of you aren't studying, maybe you're graduated. So what did you study? And if you're studying now, what's it called? And I'm not going to throw out anyone who says they're in a non-tech course, or anything like that. It's absolutely, I'm just interested in what people are studying. So I studied software engineering, but it was very much a computer science type course. It wasn't just engineering. There was a lot of engineering in it, but a lot of computer science as well. Wow, okay. So that is an interesting breakdown, folks. I'm glad people were able to join. It's nice to see some data science. Data science is great if you love maths. It's challenging if you're like me and you've forgotten a lot of your maths, but it comes back to you eventually. But sometimes it's hard to remember it. When you get old, it's hard to do maths in your head. You need a calculator. So right, that's really interesting results. Okay, and we will give just a few seconds more for people to get in and answer. If you're having trouble getting in or you don't want to answer, that's fine. Okay, and let's try the next one. Okay, so that worked quite well. So we'll start a little quiz now. I didn't know this was going to be a quiz, but we're going to find out. All correct answers give max points. Where are you studying? What's the name of the institution? Okay, so where are you studying? So I'm studying in University College Dublin. And if you type it in, it should appear as a word cloud or some mad thing like that, but I'm not sure. This is my first time using Menti, so you're helping me with an experiment here. So Uvarager has said you've completed a certified developer and can you join the community builder? So I'm afraid I'm not involved in the community builder program, but if you go to the website about community builders, they have the application process there. I know the folks who run it, but they're a separate team to me. So I don't know, but it's worth checking. It's gone. So some people got to answer and some people didn't. Wow, there's so many different places. That's really amazing. Folks, that's amazing. So many people are joining. St. Xavier's College. It sounds like, maybe you're studying with the X-Men. That's very cool. Okay, so let's see the next one. Okay, what year are you in? So I'm assuming people are between first and fifth year, because I know some people do a fifth year for a master's. Some people are graduated already. That's okay. Let's see. Oh, lots of people in third year. That's interesting. And I wonder, do you do work placements in Nepal? Is that a thing? Not everyone does a work placement, I know, but some people do. No, I'm seeing crying there. maybe someone doesn't like to be reminded that they're still studying. No, Hickman, I don't know what the answer to no is. Is it to work placements? Okay, so we've a surprising number of first years, mostly third years, and we even have a few graduates. Very good. Right, next. Okay, multiple choice. Ignore that one. We were just talking about this. What coding language do you like? Python, Java, C#, JavaScript, or other? Hikmat, that's a pity. Work placement is a great thing. It's really good for getting experience. So look for internships during your breaks if you can. It's really tough, and some companies won't pay you, which I think is terrible. I think internships should be paid, but an unpaid internship in tech is better than no internship. Look at it that way. Wow, Python is just wrecking everybody there. 17 preferences for Python. What is this? This is the Python fan club. I'm only kidding. I like Python too. It's just Python's just too easy. Coding's meant to be pain and suffering, and Python is just fun. Like, what's going on? But anyway, we have Java and C# about even. A few JavaScripts. My boss likes JavaScript. She'd be impressed. Oh, say no to the semicolon and kit. Well, how can you say that? I've 3,000 books over there on a bookshelf that are filled with semicolons because they're all about coding in hard languages. Right, so semicolon is what makes Python so popular, or lack of. There you go. Wow, I didn't expect those results. 17 for Python. Right, we've reached the end. So thank you for letting me test that. It's the first time I've used Mentimeter. Was it a good experience for you guys and girls? Not just guys and girls. Right, we have a really good question. How DevOps varies from cloud. Okay. So thank you for helping me test that out, folks. So Lanisha Gemeyer, could you maybe extend that question a little bit for me? Do you mean how being a DevOps engineer is different if you're DevOps on the cloud or DevOps on premise? Or what's your question? I'm not exactly sure what it is.
Lenisa, you can just unmute yourself and ask question to Steve.
They might not have a microphone. They mightn't have permission to unmute themselves. So, Lanisha, I'm going to answer what I think, but if you want to give me more details of the question, go. So, I haven't been a DevOps person for a while, but I used to be DevOps for some big tech companies. And when DevOps became an official thing, lots of us had been doing it for a long time, but we didn't know we were DevOps. I know that sounds funny, but it just meant these were things we had to do as a software engineer anyway. It wasn't our job. Our job was to write code, but you had to do lots of things as well so that code could be successfully published and deployed. And that involved things like the setup of the environment, your coding environment, the testing, the deployment, everything except writing code. Now, as a software engineer, I just wanted to write code all day. I didn't want to test it. I didn't want to care about infrastructure. I didn't want to do any of that stuff, but I had to because otherwise my code, would be random. And I remember everyone nearly had to be DevOps on the team, whether they liked it or not. And I remember the first time we had a dedicated role to this person will just do all those things and no code, and everyone else will just write code and work with the DevOps person to make sure their code integrated properly. So what became a sort of burden that everyone had to do a little bit of became a dedicated role. And that's a much better thing because you got experts doing it rather than people who are like, oh, I have to do this thing. Now, how it changes on the cloud is it used to be that your test infrastructure and your deployment infrastructure was very ad hoc and it varied from company to company and team to team. By adopting a cloud-based deployment, and that could be with GitHub, it could be with what's the word I'm looking for that I can't think of? In AWS, there's code commit, code deploy, code load of different things. There's 5 of them. Each one of those makes the process, the necessary process of testing, deployment, all those things, a standard so that you can hire someone who knows it and they'll be able to quickly get your system up and running and deployed. Now, for companies that don't do that, they tend to come up with a solution that's usually based on containers, and they'll use Docker and Kubernetes as a way to standardize their environment. But really what they're doing is replicating on-premise what happens in the cloud. So Hira says, what is AWS machine learning? So machine learning is a huge area. It's my specialty. And what I would say is for those of you who are doing data science and focusing on machine learning to you is about building a model, having lots of data, testing it, deploying it. For most of us who don't want to do that, though, machine learning is a service running in the cloud that we can call from any programming language, send it some data, and get machine learning information back. So I'll give you an example. I told you I live on a farm, and believe it or not, I actually have a sick chicken in my office today. Like, she's very sick, and she's a lovely chicken. She's a pet. But the 15-year-old is very worried about her because she's very sick, and he's put her in a towel in a box, and she's sitting in my office right now. So when she is healthy and running around the farm, we have a problem is that hawks like to attack chickens, and we have a lot of hawks here. So I put a camera on my farm that detects movement, and it sends a picture to the cloud. And that picture is usually a chicken. So I use machine learning to analyze it. And if it's a chicken, it does nothing else. But if it's a hawk or a buzzard or an eagle, not too many eagles here, but a few, it sends me an alert to Alexa. And then I run outside and I put the chickens inside so that the hawk doesn't get them. Now, think about that. If I didn't have machine learning, then I would have to spend all day looking at pictures of chickens instead of hawks. This way, I only get an alert when it's the right thing. And machine learning can do that for me. Imagine you're a historian and you've hundreds of old letters you have to read. Well, it can be hard to read old handwriting. Imagine just putting it into machine learning and it analyzes the handwriting and tells you what the text is. So these services are usually very cheap because they're running on the cloud. You can always train your own model and do it your own way, but it's a lot cheaper to just, if you don't know how to do that, connect to the service, send it and get it back. So that's what AWS machine learning is. We can send it a photograph and it'll tell you what's in the photograph. You can send it speech and it can translate it into another language or tell you what the person said. And that's how Alexa works. So these are services that you can use too. And usually they have a very good free tier. So you can like test 5,000 images a month for free with machine learning, which is really cool. I have a workshop on it, and maybe you guys will invite me to give that workshop next year. Virtually. I'd love to go to Nepal, but I think it's a long flight. Now, what is ML ops? So it's DevOps only for machine learning. So an awful lot of machine learning is dealing with huge amounts of data, and I mean crazy amounts of data. And if you're the data scientist who just wants to work on the model, and you don't really know how all that data works, having an ML ops person who says, I have gotten the data, I've put it on an S3 bucket, I've connected it to your SageMaker Studio instance, it's ready to go, I've done all that for you. Well, then, the data scientist loves the ML ops people because they make it so that all of the hard data work is done for you and they can focus on the model building. So all the deployment, all that stuff, that's what the ML ops person focuses on. Okay, thank you for that question, Bing. And I see that there has been a survey posted. Folks, can I just say, please fill in the survey. There's 58 people still here. There was 70 something on earlier on. If you fill in that survey, that helps us know that Upendra is doing his job, which he is, but it helps us, other people who aren't me, who are on the team know. They check all of the data and they share it. And also there's a question there about how the presenters did. I just want to say, I think all the presenters, with the exception of myself, were amazing today. Thank you, Desh, for speaking. Thank you, Upendra, for organizing. And we had a professor doctor at the beginning speaking, and we had Hikmat doing all the gluing it all together. And everyone did an amazing job. I did my best, but everyone else did an amazing job. Yang Chen, how does it feel to do your job? I have a very rare job. I'm a developer advocate. There's only like 150 of us. I think in the whole world, there's only like 1,000 of us in every company. So I absolutely love my job because it combines the two things I'm really able to do. There's only two things I can do, okay? I can do tech. I can write code. I can build amazing things. That's one thing. And number two, I can talk about it. So there's only two jobs you can get if they're your only two skills. One is to be a software engineer. The other is to be a computer science lecturer. And luckily, there is a third job